A well-defined energy plan is important. What I mean by a well-defined energy plan is that we need to be able to know our energy demand and supply. Based on the deficit that exists in the country, you would be able to determine what kind of generation capacity that you want to undertake. Now, being able to be specific on the gap, this gap actually would also help to know which off-taker is going to be able to implement this project. Now, the off-taker aspect is key because fundamentally, when an investor is doing a project, not just at the country level, but they would want to know the cash flows coming out to be able to repay the investment. As such, defining your energy demand and supply is important, but also being a bit more specific with the off-take aspect would be able to help investors critically determine the risk profile of the country and the project and be able to make sure that there will be adequate return on investment that would be ensure that the project would work. Thank you. At all points in time, there's supposed to be a fine balance when we are talking about pricing, because energy is important and it needs to be reliable enough to meet the interest of both consumers as well as the interest of the generators or the investors. In that extent, pricing is important. The pricing would have to ensure that the investor is getting the required return on investment, and also the consumer is also ensuring that they would get some level of affordability. So having a fine balance between the consumer and the generator is key. As for that reason why we have regulators ascertaining a certain level of independent state to make sure that there's an optimal balance between the interest of the investor and also the level of affordability of the consumers. So the regulator, often which is a utility or the economic regulator, undertakes certain level of analysis to ensure that that level of reliability or that level of affordability is being provided. Now, as much as we're looking at things from the pricing perspective, the regulator also needs to safeguard the level of reliability coming up, that is the quality of energy, because at the end of the day, you need the energy to be able to deliver on certain things, or you would need to use the energy to undertake certain objectives. And as such, the quality of energy you are getting is very important. So the regulator also tends to safeguard the quality of energy that is protecting the consumer interest in that state. So that is very much important in that state. The regulators' interest in making sure that there's that level of long-term interest is to make sure that there's the level of sustainability. That level of sustainability is making sure that the utility which is providing the service is actually operating within a certain financial sustainable framework that would be always be in service or would be in operations to deliver on the service. Now, once the utility is operating within that level of financial sustainability, there is that going concern. And as that going concern is established, and as I enumerated earlier on, you already have the utility, the regulator ensuring that the utility is providing quality energy to the consumers. So once the utility is in going concern status, the regulator then has the leverage to continue to ascertain that the utility is delivering on its mandate of providing quality service and protecting the consumer interest, and at the same time ensuring that there is that level of affordability. The regulator actually safeguards this level of sustainability to also ensure that the level of electricity pricing is within a tolerable range that the consumers can afford. Thank you.